Hi everybody, welcome to our life energy update here on YouTube for energetically sensitives, awakening and empaths. For the week of November 17th till 23rd of November, the first time live on YouTube. Welcome for having a look at collective energies here this week. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Bryndis. I'm airing from transCODES back in Colorado, United States. We're located here and we work with energetically sensitives and empaths from all over the world. And this is how we produce these energy updates and energy forecasts. So welcome and thank you for tuning in to this live energy update. As always, we're going to start with a little bit of a summary, then we're going to review last week how collective energies felt for us. If you don't know yet what collective energies are, I'm going to explain this in a second. Then I'm going to go into the prediction part, into the forecast, and you may find this very unusual for someone who talks about energies and woo-woo stuff. I'm also going to reflect a little bit on the cryptocurrency world. This is something that I've started, I guess, like in March, April this year. There is a connection between some of the developments that we are experiencing on our personal level and on the global level. And interestingly enough, to all our surprise, this is actually manifesting in the changes in our finances. And so many of us have predicted or are familiar with that there's a financial collapse coming. Well, it may not actually turn out to be a collapse, but a transition, like so many other areas of our life. And then I'm going to conclude with practical energy tips. So I'm going to talk about where you can feel this in your body, what you may go through, especially in your relationships, maybe in regards to your job or life situation. And for those of you who are interested in the deeper aspects, I give really in-depth tips and also put links up here with articles that I wrote about the specific subjects mentioned. All right. So welcome. I'm not sure if I can see your guys' questions here while I'm talking. I'm going to have to check this out a little bit. I have no clue how to operate this. I'm just going to go ahead with the recording. I don't know if there's anybody there. If there's anybody there, push the like button, push the subscribe button. I don't know if I can see anything here yet. Ooh, yes, people are there. Let us know where you're from. This is something that is really cool for other people to see where you guys are from. Just a country that you live in and where you're listening from. Hi. All right, this is cool. I can see this. All right, I'm not sure if I can see likes and things like that, so we're gonna adjust as we go. One of our biggest subject here for this year and actually the coming years. Welcome everybody. All right, I gotta make a personal comment here. I just got back from Florida, from 0 altitude to 7,000 elevation, and I'm a bit out of it. If you are energetically sensitive, you may know what I'm referring to. It's tough to do this climate change in such a short amount of time, and I'm really drowsy today. So I hope I can come up with a coherent energy update for this coming week 47. I named it the end of the old paradigm, a new normal ahead, and we will talk about this here in a little bit. Some of you are familiar. I come up with a collective energy barometer every week, and I can't mix this in yet. I'll come to that here in the coming week and learn how to edit things as I go. We are still in the red zone, unfortunately. I was hoping that things would slow down a bit, get a little easier for us here towards the end of November. Not quite yet, okay? So actually we're looking at some further escalation here, especially the next week. So some of that has to do with the lunar cycle as well. You know this. I'm not an astrologer, but I do look at lunar cycles. I do look at planetary constellations, and they often give me a confirmation on what I'm already experiencing with working with all my clients here that are visionary and precognitive and very sensitive to upcoming energies. So being in the red zone means that we will probably have to deal with continued deeper and slower, denser energies, okay? I know this is not good news, and I've been saying this a few times. I feel like a broken record. You know me, it's not, I don't see my job in making you feel good about things that are really needed to be resolved or needed to be cleared. So I'm trying to walk this thin line between presenting truth and giving you a positive outlook and also practical tips on how you can better deal with these things. So most of us energetically sensitives have had a really hard time the last 3-4 weeks, I'll be honest with you. We could almost call this a chronic depression or chronic escalation, intensity in a physical sense, and in a relationship sense. Yes, and there are some questions that are coming out. Gosh, I don't know how to hold on to them. Let me see. Can I scroll them? Yes, I can. All right. Yes, somebody's reminding me to discuss adapting to these faster vibratory rates. And this has been our theme here for months, really. Okay. This is part of the reason why we experience this as so challenging, because the overall energetic situation right now in our collective is that there is not just on a consciousness level and a speed up, an increase of energies, but there's also a physical increase in energies. Things are going faster now in all areas of life. Hey guys, thanks for telling me where you guys from. This is really cool. Keep doing this. And as energies speed up, what happens? Things that are not in resonance with our overall alignment, meaning our intentions, but not just our mental intentions, like, yeah, I would like to have my life like this or like that, but also our inner alignment, meaning things that have to do with our values and virtues. Everything not in alignment with our inner goals, our higher vibratory goals, will now come forward and will be shown to us. It will basically slap us in the face, okay? And this is really what it means when energies speed up. We here at transCODES, we have to explain this to people all the time, because we mainly work with remote energy. And so when people come to energy sessions, what we do is we create a field that speeds up the energies around and within a person, and it allows the person to see the things that are not in congruence with where they want to go. And this is what makes it so challenging right now. So if we look back, maybe like 10 years ago, we knew that there were things that weren't right. And if we've been around the New Age corner, we've read about some of the back then conspiracy theories, and today they all seem to be validated. But we knew that there were things that weren't quite true, but it didn't really affect us as much. Today we are in a place collectively, meaning everybody on this planet who has to look at truth. So truth is now not just sort of a nice ideal anymore. It is something that has to manifest in our entire human collective. And those of you who are familiar a little bit with some of the development of consciousness, of like where the human collective is sort of advancing, you will find that if you compare what we are experiencing right now with sort of the individual consciousness development of a person from birth till they die, that we are in a phase of, like, say, an 18-year-old. All right, so we are just about to wake up to what it means to become emotionally and spiritually more mature. And this is what the entire collective is going through, including the collective unconscious, meaning that we are being in a very vulnerable state where we're just about to want to liberate ourselves from all the sickness and the untruths that are going on around us. But at the same time, we haven't really found our center yet. We don't quite know who we are as spiritual beings. And so this is here where transcodes come in, and all the articles that I've been writing for 10 years, you'll find a wonderful archive of articles covering these subjects. What does this mean to evolve spiritually? What does this new spirituality mean? Does this mean we have to all exit churches? We have to, break up with our relationship partner, find new jobs? It doesn't necessarily mean this. It means that we have to learn how to adjust to things, all right, and how to learn to navigate our energies, which of course we have to become familiar with first. So education is a whole new level of consciousness development now, and very, very needed for us to really dive or delve into what does it mean to experience myself as an energetic being, not just as a physical being, not just as an emotional being, not just as a mental being, but as a spiritual and energetic being. There's many different aspects to that, and one of the aspects here that I just got reminded on is to learn how to become more adaptive, to learn how to adjust to things as we go. All right, so the mental understanding of ourselves, the physical understanding of ourselves is what we've done, like, say, the last 20, 30 years, understanding how our metabolism works, how our body works, how our sort of physical existence here works, and how we can optimize this. Many of you, like myself, were very active in educating people on sort of contamination in food and improving metabolic functions and so forth. This was the last 20, 30 years in our collective development. Then we've discovered the emotional part of our being, things that have to do with psychology and behavioral things, like how we react in certain situations and how we need to become more mature in certain areas. Including our behaviors. Keyword addiction is a big one here. We talked about this last week and the week before that. Dealing with things rather than coping with things. Okay, this is still prevalent this weekend, but it takes on a different angle now. And then we begin to understand ourselves as mental beings, and with the rise of the internet and all this information available to us at our fingertips, learning to accumulate knowledge that was only available for small circles in the past. Esotericism really means that information is only available to a small selected circle. This has turned into exotericism now, which means that this information, this spiritual information, but also factual information, is now available for the big masses. All right, and so we've begun to understand ourselves in a mental sense. We studied spiritual teaching, we studied psychology, and other alternative therapies, and so we've gained a good overview here, no matter how old we are, over what we can do as a human to excel, to thrive, and not just trying to get by and survive our lives, but to really tap into our highest potential. The phase that we are in now as a collective is to enlarge and augment our understanding as spiritual beings. And I even go a step further. There is something beyond spiritualism, and that is understanding ourselves as energetic beings, tapping into our seventh sense, tapping into our intuition, into our precognition, and learning what this energetic sensitivity that we have, and what being an empath, what this really means for our future. And so when I create these collective energy updates or energy forecasts, what I'm doing, I'm culminating all the data that I collect over the week with those clients that I work with the people that come to our public sessions where we work energies, and I basically summarize them and create a prediction based on that, because energetically sensitive people pick up on these things quicker than the vast majority. And so to conclude sort of the overview here, we are still in a situation where, like, say, only 1 out of 10 people is really interested in this kind of consciousness development. And so most energetically sensitives and empaths find themselves in a situation where they feel that the world is kind of hostile. All right, and yes, we get to the system overload here. When I get to the energetic tips, that's something that's coming up for a lot of you guys, including myself, by the way. Yes, and toxic electromagnetic energy, I've talked about this in the past a lot. This is also part of the new sort of contaminations that we are experiencing here as energetic beings, namely the Wi-Fi, the phones, and a lot of the global electromagnetic network that is being created by us humans right now, that creates or can create a lot of overlay for us, meaning it can make adaptation, it can make the free flow of energy and our senses clogged, and make this harder on top of everything. But where we are at right now in our collective development is that literally 9 out of 10 people not only have no ideas what we're talking about, they will think that you are sort of borderline crazy and maybe a little bit on the woo-woo side. And this is something that transCODES here tries to bridge. We try to create or fill in the gap between science and woo-woo, and we use our energetic sensitivity, we use this subjectivity that we all need to move back to as a means to explain things, and also bring it into a more scientific context. Okay, we can't scientifically explain subjectivity. This is contradicts the old or the existing scientific paradigm. So what we are seeing is that the whole scientific paradigm is actually changing now, and this is also part of the this next week's theme here, and but not just in regards to science, who's that is recognizing that subjectivity has to come back into the experience, because when we are talking about physical things, how we perceive things, when we talk about linearity, when we talk about retrocausality, when we talk about these precognitive things that we're all experiencing but these 10-15% of us, more so than others. For us, this is reality. For the others, it's kind of like, I'm not sure if I can trust this. But when it comes to these kind of things, we have to reintegrate our subjective experience. And this then leads to truth. Truth, the perception of truth and the ability to discern truth is, so to speak, the movement now in our collective consciousness evolution. All right, and this is concludes the intro here, because the summary of the situation that we're currently in, and that is that I predict for the next week, is that we are now getting to a point where these two paradigms literally clash. And this I want to explain a little bit what the old paradigm looks like from an energetic standpoint. From an energetic standpoint, the promotion of say dog eats dog, winner against loser, black and white, good and bad, the propagation of duality is what I mean with the old paradigm. It is an energy form that is that resides here in our third chakra, in our solar plexus area, sort of the upper end of our ego. All right, this is where we have come to conclusions, where we observe the world around us as part of like there's the good guys and the bad guys. There's things that are right, and then there's things that are wrong. It has to do with how we perceive or how we process rules, how we process values, and of course also how we look into the future, how we maybe determine what is good for us in our life's decisions and so forth. This is all based on third chakra. And why am I saying this? Is this a bad thing, third chakra? No, this is where some of our inner power resides, our life force energy. And many of you feel this when you get really excited. You'll feel this like sort of surge here in your stomach area. But it is also where our ego energies reside. The selfishness, the survival drive, I've got to go against it. This is also where our pride resides. And pride, for most of us awakening people here, is sort of the biggest impotence right now. For us to actually move into being able to discern truth, we have to acknowledge, we have to accept literally that pride and ego are the things that cannot get us to this place of feeling truth and what is true to me and manifesting truth. So speaking with you guys and doing these energetic sessions, I've mentioned this before. One of the big barriers that we see in collective consciousness development is a disconnect between the third and the fourth chakra. The fourth chakra being sort of the representation of a love-based relationship and higher vibratory, truth-based, true self-based interactions with others. And then the fifth chakra here in our, the lower part of our face and throat, including our arms, which is sort of the transition between the fourth and the fifth. I talked about this last week, is the expression thereof, the manifestation. So those of you who are listening here and who see themselves as empaths and energetically sensitives, and those who want to live a life in a more conscious and more truth-based paradigm, you will deal a lot with these three chakras, all right? Mostly because you are trying to adapt to these faster vibratory resonances that are surrounding us consciously. Most people don't, and that's why they don't feel it. They have constant nasal congestion. They have constant issues with their teeth or their throat or with their stomach and their digestion, and don't know why. Understanding yourselves as an energetic being means that you listen to the signals in your body, you listen to the signals in your emotions, and you listen to your thoughts, and then you transform them into what this truly means to you in your heart. And then you use that as your new paradigm to manifest your reality. In other words, our consciousness is what creates our reality. It is not that we are being faced with just one truth and that then determines what we manifest. It's the other way around. Keyword retrocausality and so forth. I've mentioned this many times before, that the energetic view of manifestation is that we are actually being pulled into our future rather than being pushed forward by our past. And in order to arrive there, we have to kind of be willing to let go of the linearity and the dualism of our thinking, because this is where most of us get stuck. We get stuck in our mind, believing that the way we see things based on our knowledge, and again here, just a quick reminder, our knowledge is based on the old paradigm, on good and bad, binary, yes or no, black or white, light and dark. All right, based on that, we cannot arrive in truth. We cannot arrive in this place where we can actually discern truth from within. We are dependent on outer factors, on outer entities, on outer rules, on outer people, institutions, governments, and so forth to tell us what is true, what is right, what is beneficial for us. And this is what we're experiencing right now. We are experiencing the dissolution of the old paradigm, the old rules, the old untruths, so to speak, as we are moving into the new paradigm of being able to see truth at all times and to adapt to it as well. And this creates a lot of havoc in our lives. I like covering geopolitical aspects and environmental aspects as well, because they're all reflecting each other. They're all a mirror of each other. But if you just look at your personal life, you will find that most of these transitions that we are going through are really part of a much, much larger development. So this development has been going on for roughly 30 years. Okay, so it actually started in the mid-80s when the collective experienced sort of the first influx of increased energies. And there are several sort of rocks in time, where we could detect a stronger impact, some of which was around the millennium mark and then 2012. And since the beginning of this year, this paradigm change has taken on manifestation and implementation nature. And mad scientists, thank you for asking this. How long will it take till the old paradigm is coming down or completely gone? Well, this will probably take another 80 years or so. This is just my guess. But what is happening is not so much that all of the old stuff is gone. What is happening and the way this will happen on this compared to prior collective energies or energetic developments, that we will experience this as a bifurcation. I've explained bifurcation many times in previous updates. So go back to previous updates. Just because there's a date on there doesn't mean that it doesn't have an impact, or that it doesn't have validity anymore. As you know, the prediction part is actually quite small here because I'm reflecting on current collective energies. And bifurcation means that we will begin to experience something like a split reality. So where one part of the population is experiencing this as extremely dreadful, as disastrous, as chaotic, and another part of the population will experience this as like the whole new world, like new golden times. And as of right now, the ratio is this 1-to-9 ratio. So 1 out of 10 people will actually experience these changes as beneficial, as advantageous, and will interpret the things that are going on right now in our collective as a positive development. I belong to this 1 out of 10. I belong to this 10%. This is what I'm reporting to you. I'm reporting to you the contextualization of what is going on right now, what the mass majority experiences as disaster or as chaos. But for us, it's actually an advantageous, a very, very positive development. But there will be 90% of the people who will experience this as bad for their lives, and they won't be able to adjust. And that's where the adaptability, the copeability, as I called it last week, comes in. We have to learn how these energies work, and we start within. So as far as like the summary is concerned here, this week is announcing the necessity to go into active self-healing. And self-healing doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with us, that we're flawed, or that there's, that we are damaged or anything like that. Active self-healing or self-healing means that we begin to see the full spectrum of our existence, the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, and the energetic, and begin to holistically contextualize this. And as we do this, we begin to realize, oh my God, I've lived my life in a lie. And this is why I have all these issues in my hip. Or this is why I keep struggling with anxiety. This is why I have this really strong critical inner voice in my head that keeps on throwing me into these mental loops where I can't fall asleep at night, because I keep on thinking about stuff that I can't resolve. And this is also why I have all these feelings of damnation or sinfulness or the fear of being punished, because I can't contextualize all this with the energetic aspect. And this is where we need healing as a collective. And this is why I call this self-healing. It's the era of self-healing, the new paradigm, guys. It's not like all of a sudden, we're going to be rescued. There's going to be a whole new situation and everybody is going to be lifted up, elevated, everybody ascends at a certain date. No, this would be a view based on the old paradigm. See, the old paradigm externalizes your inner energy and therefore always looks for solutions on the outside. For governments to fix this, or for the avatar, the rescuer to come, or for the next new whatever solution, diet, energy method, or whatever. This is externalization, guys. So the new normal is that we begin to learn how to feel this from inside. Yes, and yes, it's cool that you mentioned this, because there is a part of us that wants to be rescued from the outside, but this is the part of us that lives in the old paradigm. We want things, to happen to us. But see, as long as you actually align to this, that things happen to you, guess what? You are not in control. You are externalizing your true inner power, and that is to create your own reality. And I'm not just saying this. This is a true inner power. But as long as you are not willing to take on that inner power, which means, and here comes the healing aspect, which means to, of course, acknowledge your part in the things that went wrong in the past, and wrong only with quotation marks, because a lot of times when you begin to see the energetic aspects, you'll see they aren't wrong at all. They just didn't match up with your expectations or with your goals that were not based on truth. So as you're moving into truth, you'll recontextualize your goals, and you'll find that some of the old ideals or some of the old virtues or even goals in life that you had, I wanted to be famous, I wanted to be rich, I wanted, who doesn't? When you're 18, you want to be rich and famous and and have lots of money on your bank account, and don't worry about things. And then, as you were like by the end of 20, you realize, oh, wait a minute, this isn't happening to me. So is it because the world is so bad, or because of my upbringing, or we're looking for scapegoats, we're externalizing all of that. That needs to be healed. So this whole idea that our energies are controlled on the outside is the part that produces the problems. It is the impotence right now. And this is also what distances us from the ability to discern truth. Because as soon as you go into self-healing and begin to own your own energy and own your own parts in creating the reality that you are experiencing, you will reclaim your power to change it. The collective as such, which is a much denser mass, moves at a much slower rate, meaning that yes, you'll feel alone at first. Yes, it will scare the heck out of you. Yes, it's painful to go into your past and see actually that it wasn't your ex-girlfriend's fault, but it was actually your expectation, or that it wasn't your ex-boyfriend's fault for not rescuing you. It was your expectation in the first place, that created all the problems in the relationship. And I've talked about, this often mentioned relationship issue here between narcissists and empaths, and this affinity. And I've, in the past, tried to help you recontextualize this, because both the narcissist and the empath are both energetically sensitive people. Both are not in full control of their own powers, and therefore externalize to another. The narcissist, in a way that he needs to feed off the empath's willingness, to give, and the empath that feeds on the narcissist's projections of energy, making her or him feel better about himself. All right, and so you have two forms of coping, with energetic sensitivity that is not yet trained, that is not yet educated, because as soon as you begin to learn what your energies are about, you begin to see how people project stuff onto you, and you don't fall for this shit anymore. And as soon as you begin to see, how all these victim perpetrator things are all connected and just different sides of the same coin, you begin to see, oh shit, all my life I've blamed other people for things, but I was the one that enabled this. I was actually the one that attracted this. I'm not talking about severe abuse and so forth, but there is an energetic reality in that, and that is why are we getting attracted to these kind of situations and people in the first place. And this needs to be healed, because it's repetitive. It's part of your pattern. And so are addictions. And we actually here at transCODES, we've created a whole entire self-healing course for you guys, going through these different layers of ego to learn how to discern truth and how to reclaim your sovereignty by calling ego itself the addiction, because it's linked to our solar plexus, and the solar plexus needs a payoff. It needs a juice, and that's why we all have such a hard time getting past this, even in the spiritual scene. Because we have to let go of the juice. We have to let go of the specialness and the pride, the spiritual pride that comes in with doing this kind of consciousness work. This is not healing work yet. You are still in the level of mentally absorbing all of this. So if you want to get further and actually manifest a life in abundance, in an abundant condition of wealth, health, and love, you've got to acknowledge that your ego is in the way, and the majority of that is actually located in your mind, in your mental energy. So many of us have the issue of getting out of our minds. So I'm getting ahead of myself here, but of course the solution is working with your heart and finding your center. And this is not just some spiritual kumbaya type of thing. This is actual work, all right, heart work in both senses. All right. So what we need to get used to here is a new sense of normal, because what most of us have not realized yet is that our normal, what we accept as reality, what we accept as normality, isn't normal at all. It is accepted by our ego because our ego likes the familiarity of normal, no matter how dysfunctional it is. Remember? It's not our ego's job to make us happy. It's our ego's job to make us feel safe, but not happy. And we can feel safe in very dysfunctional circumstances or relationships just because it's so familiar, so normal. And of course, yes, this has a lot to do with our inner child, with how we grew up and how we were received in this world. That's why we've done a lot of karmic family work and inner child work here in the last couple of weeks. Because there is a lot of trauma that we've experienced, and these things need to be healed. That is active self-healing. All right, but this adaptability that I'm talking about in an energetic sense means that we have to learn how to work our energies more involved. We have to become more involved in our energetic reality, rather than seeing it just as happening to us. And this is one of the reasons why I do these energy updates, because as I'm reflecting on collective energies, all right, I'm giving you the opportunity to see that some of the things are yours and some of the things aren't. So if you've been having, for instance, these what was this last week? Constant nasal congestion, problems with ears, eyes, flu-like symptoms, issues with your jaw, with your throat, and your upper respiratory system last week, and you can't get rid of it. Part of that is what is going on in the entire collective. A part of it is yours because you have energies there that are unresolved. So for many of us, it was the mental looping in the last week, and some of the resistance that we have to accepting our ego, our parts in our reality. This needs to be addressed now. If it doesn't get addressed, you will continue to experience the world and the developments in the collective as chaotic, as disastrous. If you go into active self-healing, you will find out that many of the things that you've accepted as normal can be healed, can be reframed and recontextualized in a way that they literally make it possible for you to change your past. And I know this sounds kind of weird for the linear mind. How can we change our past? Those things have already happened. Yes, the events have happened, but how they are being processed in ourselves and how they're stored energetically, that can be changed. And so a lot of times the reality of our past can be changed. Same with our present, and that's sort of the core teaching here, is to learn how to become present, how to be more mindful, and how to find your true power in your center. That all happens in the present moment. And as you begin to adapt your choices to this higher vibratory state within you that is based on truth, that is based on acceptance, that is based on neutrality, that is based on empathy, on love, cooperation, synergy, and so forth, your future will take on a different form. You can literally shift timelines. I've talked a lot about this in the past. So scroll here through the energy updates and look at the keywords, because there you can see what I discussed in those past energy updates. So this whole battle of truth that is going on right now, okay, whether it's in politics, whether it's in economy, even in the crypto world, it's really funny to observe this. It's like the last hurrah of the old paradigm. Who is more truth? Who is more right? Who is more good? Who is more light? That's total BS, guys. That's total bullshit. It's not about that. The new paradigm is about letting go of that view. That somebody's got to be the winner. Who's going to make the race? Who's going to be the best? It's not about that. All right? It's not about which news is faker or truer than the other news. All that matters is what is true to you. What does your inner truth detector say? And this can be transposed onto relationships. How does your relationship partner feel to you when he says this or when she does this? Does this feel true to you? How do you feel about what is going on in your relationship? You don't know yet? That's okay. Then give yourself the space to feel this out. And the questions that come up in this context are, how do I truly feel about this? What does this truly mean to me? Do I feel loved? Do I feel safe? Is this something that I want to accept as my reality, or do I want to change this? Those are the things that matter. It's a process of constant correction. And that's why when I talk about these collective energies, I so often talk about corrective waves. Yes, you've got to accept the fact that evolution is a paradigm of constant correction. And if you messed up, oh well, then you say, ooh, I messed that one up. All right, and then you go into correction. And whatever that means in your relationship, maybe you go back and say, hey, the way I said this, the way this came out, I didn't truly mean it that way. What I truly meant to say was. Or if something happened at your job site, where you messed up, instead of blaming others or blaming circumstances, go into like, I messed that up. I could have done that better. I didn't. That's all right though. I'm recentering. I'm correcting in the moment. And I admit to these things, because as you admit to your own truth, you are increasing your integrity, your truth integrity, and that attracts other people that are aligned to truth as well, and it attracts a new future to you. This is sort of the real law of attraction, all right? Not that if I just think of it hard enough and if I do my affirmations 20 times a day, I'm going to get there. No, you're trying to do this with your mind. You can't do this with your mind, because guess what? In your mind, there's a lot of other beliefs that are working against it, that are creating sort of this inner battle, and that's why you get caught in these mental loops. Yes, I want to be rich and famous, but I don't want to charge for my healing work because I think this should be available for everybody for free. Sorry, guys. This is one of the biggest problems with energy healers, that they think that they cannot take money or that taking money is bad. That's your mental loop. All right? I'm not talking about ripping people off or charging too much, or overcharging. I'm talking about what is true. What is an integrous energy exchange? This is where your future lies, and this is what needs to be healed. When I talk about self-healing, I'm talking about those kind of things. All right, and when we look at like politics, when we look at what is going on there with our leaders right now, can you see it? It's ridiculous. It's kindergarten battle. Who's the biggest? Who's the loudest? I don't even know. I can't even find words for this. Can't even go there anymore. And even in the crypto world, will Bitcoin survive? Will Bitcoin Cash take over Bitcoin? This is total bullshit, guys. Doesn't matter. What matters is the shifts that are happening right now, and you got to see them as a necessary means, to get to this place where things finally become more integrous, whether it's in economy, whether it's in politics, whether it's in environmental things. Does it matter whether our government believes that climate change is real or not? It matters little, because we are experiencing it. Okay? So you have to make up your own mind, but heart mind, so to say, and to rely on the truth that comes from within. This is all I'm saying. Yes, this is what it's all about, and this has been going on for a while, and this will continue going on, but the ratio of people that can see this or that can feel the truth in what I am talking about right now will increase. So right now I'm seeing ourselves at like 1 out of 10. Okay, and maybe within the next 2 years it will move to 2 or 3 out of 10, which means that, you know, like to gain a critical mass we need like about 30%. You know, this is happening fast now, and the way this is going to happen is that there's going to be a lot of collapse. Yes, especially next week, the last week of November. You watch it happen. All right, clash, total confrontation of this new and this old paradigm. And yes, it's going to drive a lot of people into disasters and more poverty and more struggle, you know, but this is because they have been externalizing their powers to government, to religion, to all kinds of things, and they're being played right now. And how they're being played is non-integrous. It's not based on truth. It's based on third chakra. It's not based on heart mind. It's not based on fourth chakra. So your choice, okay, is to participate in either that or that. And what we're going to see here is in you know, like sort of looking at the forecast now for us, the predictions for next week, is that more and more movements towards integrity will be observed. And it's beautiful for me because I've been speaking about business integrity for over 20 years. I used to be a business consultant, and I'm actually, part of my energy coaching work is teaching business owners and CEOs how to determine the integrity level of business ideas, business partners, and contracts, and so forth. And I'm helping people, you know, who want to build a new business, you know, a more integrous business. And you need that truth detector in you to create a new ecosystem of integrity. And yes, this means that you do not attract as many people as compared to the old paradigm, where all you had to be is loud, sexy, energetic, and you know, like creating this feeling of yes, when you come here, then you get a lot of gold crumbles, and you will be more successful, and everybody will admire you more. You know, this is old paradigm. Okay, new paradigm is that you stay congruent within yourself, and that you listen to your truth, and in that way you will only attract clients, business partners, business corporations that are aligned to the same paradigm, and this will be your success. It may take a year longer. You may have to be a bit more patient, because at this point we're still in this like 1-to-9 ratio. Okay, but you're going to be successful. Every business that's based on ripping off people, on not caring, you know, what the long-term consequences are, and so forth, will not be successful. And you see this right now everywhere. Retailers, world retailers that nobody could ever imagine to go bankrupt are going bankrupt right now. And that is because their business style is based on the old paradigm, and they've missed to adapt. They've missed to adapt to integrity. They do not treat their employees integriously. They do not produce products that are based on integrity, and they're not selling them. The marketing that they use is not integrous, and that's why they're dying. All right, and what I'm saying to you here as people, you know, with relationships, with families, with businesses, and financial decisions to make, is that watch this being mirrored in all areas of your life. Do not wait till it's too late. All week I've been talking to people that had issues in their relationships and with their businesses because they've been waiting for too long. They've been seeing truth, they've been seeing what is wrong all along, but they haven't acted on it. And it has led to this like almost unbearable and unfixable situation. It is not too late, but do not wait until you can't adapt it anymore. All right, if you can feel what is not right with your own business, with your own relationship, speak up and correct. Go into renegotiation, go into, we've got to do something. All right. And my tip for you here is that you approach this based on I don't have a fix. You don't have to have a fix. Quite frankly, with how fast the energies are moving right now, you cannot have a fix because you don't know. You're gonna have to trust the only navigator that can get you there, and that is your heart, the truth in your heart, and the congruence with your integrity. And this leads me to the prediction or some of the commentary here in the crypto world, cryptocurrency news. Last week was a super good example for what happens when people try to maneuver in an ecosystem that is actually designed to implement this new paradigm. Blockchain, Bitcoin, and this whole sphere around it. The new businesses, the new ways of making business that are evolving and being born in this sphere. They have one major difference to all of the other businesses in the past, and that is that they are favoring and promoting a transaction technology that is based on truth, that is based on trust, and that is based on decentralization. Meaning, in the end, that every owner, every a person should be in the ownership of their own data. This is a very high vibratory goal. But of course, as always, the ratio of 9-1 also accounts for the crypto world. And for the longest time, I've been saying this is still Wild West. We're still at the very beginnings. There's a lot of non-integrous people there trying to ride this high vibratory idea with low vibratory businesses. Okay, and there's been a collapse of some of these scams in the last week, and then people immediately went into this bashing and immediately into this like, who's going to be the winner in this race? And as they are, forget about this, guys. It's not important. All right, what you need to do right now in the crypto world is to inform yourself, just like about your own energies. And so go on YouTube, go to, email me if you don't know where to start. Okay, I've helped hundreds of people here to navigate through the crypto world without actually having to make moves yet. You don't have to make deals yet, buy things or whatever. Inform yourself, because this is in the birthing stages, and we are expecting technology that will help us on this day-to-day level, that are a bit more user-friendly, where you don't have to know all these things that you need to know, and don't have to go through all these struggles of being one of the first. So when we get into this early adapting stage, that is now starting, so the beginning of next year, then there'll be better software that be safer and so forth. We are in the active phase of self-healing and self-correction in the crypto world right now, which means there's a lot of tokens, a lot of companies that have non-integrous goals, that they're being weeded out right now, and this is very hard for someone who comes into this to be able to discern this right now. So follow a few of your favorite YouTubers that have daily updates that feel true to you. Now, some of them may feel annoying to you, because of the kind of language that they're using or whatever. Keep in mind, those are all very young and very innovative people, and these early adapters, okay, they're often a bit crazy, like myself, okay. I've been called a conspiracy theorist all my life. When I talked about MSGs and GMO and how our food is contaminated with food colorants, and how I talked about sugar being a neurotoxin 30 years ago, people thought I was a conspiracy theorist. This is common knowledge now. All right, now I'm talking about energetic reality. I'm talking about understanding yourselves as an energetic being, and there is a technology behind that you need to learn. Same thing. I'm not talking about some woo-woo stuff. All right, so if you want to learn how to decode all of that, and how to become a little more confident in discerning some of the unseen aspects of human interaction, and some of the stuff that we keep on falling prey for, then come to transCODES. All right, we have a new way of teaching, a new paradigm of teaching, and that is that we go into a transcendental meditative state with you to teach you things. This is super innovative, and you will not see a lot of other spiritual teachers who do this. This is because we are working with you based on your personal experience, and we exchange this with you and we reflect back on that. All right, so this is the new paradigm of learning, is from deep within and through your own experience. And we back things up scientifically only because we can. But there'll be things that are in the mystical realm. There'll be things where we be discussing visions and stuff like that cannot be explained. All we can do here as energetic coaches, as energetic guides, because we've been maneuvering in this realm for the last 20 years, we can give you guidance. We can give you assistance. We don't want you to see us as gurus or whatever. That would be externalization again. That wouldn't be integrous, wouldn't it? All right, so check out the sessions. We have a huge intensive coming up this weekend. Energetic absorption, energetic projection, energetic interaction. I can only recommend this to anyone who has ever been in a relationship with a narcissist, or is in these constantly repeating situations, whether at work and family, at home, where you constantly feel bombarded, where you constantly feel like you're doing something that you didn't even want to do, and you have no clue why you keep on making these decisions. All right, then check out our etheric protection intensive this weekend. On top of this, as you know, for, I don't even know now, 5 or 6 years, I've been doing this monthly. Every month, I offer a free energy session where you can experience this for yourself. Everything that I talk about is our free Connect with Your True Self transmission. And this is happening this Saturday at 9 a.m. All right, this is free. All you need to do is register, and then you receive instructions, and we do the session together, and then we discuss it together afterwards. All right, so these are here my announcements, and now I want to respond to some of your posts, because it's difficult for me to speak and not lose my thread here, and answer and read and answer. And you can post questions now. This is the reason why I do live is because I want to respond to your live questions. Okay, so somebody has asked me, oh, and keep on posting where you guys are from, what countries you are from. This is so cool. All right, here's a question. Do I have any suggestions on how to release belief systems that truly appear to be true, yet no super good in relationships? Sometimes men are stupid, women are smart, stuff like that. All right, thank you so much, Linnea. This is a wonderful, wonderful question, because these are the kind of beliefs that I was mentioning earlier that become impedances for us. And the questions that you are referring to, or those beliefs that you are referring to in regards to relationships, and these, like, men all just want one thing, and women are emotional, and all these statements that we have been adopting ever since we can think, really. All right, these are what contribute to these collective implants that I talk about. Okay, those are things that are being implanted in us, conditioned into us. Some of them are actually implanted in our DNA, but they're implanted in us through the collective. And that means that we've not even ever really examined the truth value of that. We've just taken that over, and we just assume that they were true. Now, there are stereotypes, obviously, and we can, of course, from an energetic standpoint, we do find that there are differences in how masculine energies and feminine energies respond to things. But at the same time, we are also in a time where we have to balance and our own masculine and feminine energies within. And as soon as we begin to do this, to heal this, by the way, then we begin to see how unfair it actually is to say something like that. And you've heard me talk about this collective task of unifying masculine and feminine energies within. And I want to just make one remark here for those of you who are male. It's been generally accepted that spirituality and some of the energetic stuff are more of a sort of a feminine type of thing to do, and I agree with you. This comes out of a natural necessity for women to be a bit more in tune with their bodies, and they're often more tactile, more kinesthetic to begin with, which means that they can see connections much quicker between, like, I'm feeling sick and what this person is telling me is total bullshit, just as an example. But this doesn't mean that men cannot feel it the same way. And I really want to break this belief here that men are less spiritual than women. This is not true. When we break things down to the energetic level, everything is perceived in the same way. We do have different processing channels, and we do see gender specifics here. So men tend to be more, they tend to process energies more visually at first, so as their primary processing channel. But that doesn't mean that they don't feel the same thing. It just means that they often make their energetic perception a bit more depend on visual things and visions, whereas women make their perception often more depend on their kinesthetics. But at the end of the day, we have to really bring all of these channels together. This is what we teach people here. And what I want to say about male empaths and energetically sensitives, it's difficult for you in this scene here, and I really want to give a special welcome to every male empath and energetically sensitive person out here. It is tough for you guys because of all these beliefs that are floating around, okay? I sometimes say negative things about like how sexuality is misused in the spiritual scene, but this does not mean that all men are misusing spirituality for their ego gain. On the contrary, I'm talking about how to learn how to discern this within yourself and also within others, and for that, actually learning these basics of energetic interaction are really, really important. But you guys have a tough job here sometimes, because spirituality is considered to be more of a feminine sort of trait, and that is not true. It's just an easier access for women usually. And I find it hard, if I put myself in the shoes of most of the men that I work with, to be a guy and wanting to be soft and empathetic can be a little bit of a problem sometimes. And as a woman here, all I can say to you guys, be guys, because I'm a woman too, and no matter, being a teacher and all that, but we want you guys to be guys, and and I know that you want us to be women, and that's what it comes down to in the end. So spiritual and energetic healing often brings those things forward in a positive manner. Yes, and thank you for all your wonderful comments here and where you agree. I don't mind if you disagree. I love going into discussion with this. This is what we do in the self-healing community here in my free forum. I love that. And yes, the woo-woo is something. Oh, Rochelle, I wanted to say something about the nervous system being overloaded, as I'm getting to the energetic tips, the practical tips for next week. And please keep asking. We have a few minutes left here. The energetic tips. Okay. First of all, and I'm sending chakra charts with this video. As you know, I'm always creating sort of a written energy report with this. Is this week more so your 3rd, 4th, and 5th chakra? We already talked about it, and your 7th chakra. Those are the things that really need to come into the greater context, into the greater consciousness development now. And sorry guys, I'm getting like a really good message here from a friend and client who just gave birth to a baby girl. Congratulations, Gemma and Mike. Awesome. Whew. And where was I? Yes, seventh chakra is everything here. It has to do with where our powers are located, how we learn to internalize our energies and really stay in our center. So if you're asking me as an energy coach, and so you can see this just drove tears into my eyes. That's the bad thing about being an empath. You can't really hide it. To really learn that this power is within you, and that it's not going to come from the outside, and it's not some god in some clouds up there that's going to do it for you. This doesn't mean that religions are bad. On the contrary, a healthy religious or spiritual view coming from religions is really what is happening with the churches right now as well. They have to redefine their paradigms as well, and this doesn't mean that it's all untrue. It just means that some of the contextualizations have to be reframed. But anyway, this is seventh chakra stuff, and if you would like to get a free chart from me, how to work in the practical with some of your energetic things that you discover in your energy centers and your chakras, please send me an email to jona@transcodes.com. I'm sending you a free chart with practical physical exercises and things that you can do when you experience issues in those energy centers. And in my written report, I'm going to go into some of the other effects with our nervous system right now, what is being blocked right now, and what the whole liberation is about is to sort of rekindle our parasympathetic nervous system, because we've been overloaded over the past 2 months. And so the keywords here are vagus nerve, and learning how to stimulate this natural ability to calm yourself down and to flush out some of these accumulated toxins. And most of the issues that we're going to be experiencing next week are going to be systemic. And so I'll also be talking about the lymphatic system, and I'll be adding a video on anti-inflammatory foods. So this is the time now where you really have to take care of your energy body, more so than your emotional stuff that we've been dealing with the last 4 weeks over and over and over again. Okay, if you're still regurgitating those things, I have a tip for you for this week. Give yourself a vacation from all your stuff, all right? And don't cut it off either. Don't dissociate either. This time is for us to deal with things and to heal things, to face them, not to cope and not to cut them off. Cutting off is a form of coping and a form of not dealing, a form of avoiding. All right, so don't do this. Don't wait till it's too late, till you explode and can't take it anymore. Just look around you. This is happening all over the world right now. Be the 1 out of 10 that does not do that. All right. Okay, everyone. If you don't have any immediate questions here, then please continue asking questions in the commentary. I'm also going to edit the video and post it on Facebook, so those of you who couldn't be here on YouTube Live for the first time, you can continue asking questions on Facebook. Oh, Facebook got me banned today again about an article that I posted an hour ago called Understanding the Unseen Aspects of Energetic Interaction Between Humans. So yes, I'm banned again. So apparently the information I have to share with you is no longer according to Facebook community rules, which is also part of why I'm at YouTube now for the live updates. But nonetheless, read the article yourself and make up your own mind. Please comment on the unseen aspects, and those of you who want to actively work with us and with me in particular this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come to transcodes.com. All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much for coming. Give me lots of likes, okay? And subscribe to my YouTube channel here. If you click the bell button, you're actually going to receive notifications for for live streams. And starting to figure this out here on YouTube. I'm going to do more live streams for you. But the energy update will be every Thursday, 2 p.m. unless I have something practical coming in between. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful next week. And remember, stay in your truth. Okay. Bye-bye.